Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 10. Module 10 is the next module where we will look at the Nordic gods and heroes. So you're going to read part 2 of the textbook, which is roughly going to take you about halfway through the book at this point. Part 2 covers a few more stories. They're not as linked together as part 1, so they're not as chronological. Part 2, we go back in the past a little bit. We have some stories that are told that happened beforehand, which don't necessarily fit on a neat timeline like in the first part. But we also get some more stories about Thor and Loki and some of their adventures. So we get to see some of that, and that will lead us to some of the events that happen there, start to lead us to some of the problems that the gods are going to have with one another. Particularly Loki is going to start to get into more and more trouble, and that will lead us to part 3 where Loki turns dark and Ragnarok is starting essentially. And that's the part that you'll be reading. The module, though, does not have anything in it. There's no quiz or anything in it related to the reading. Instead, you're going to be continuing the research paper. And the research paper, if you remember, a couple of modules ago, you put in a topic proposal, which I gave you feedback on. If you haven't looked at that feedback, you need to now, because you need to have that topic approved before you can actually continue on the research paper. And so the next step is to find sources. And you can see that I've got some resources here, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then you're actually going to complete an annotated bibliography. An annotated bibliography is it's a longer writing assignment, but it's not an essay. If you have taken Comp 2, you may be familiar with what one looks like. If you haven't, then I've got some examples for you to look at. But the basic idea is that you're creating your own research resource. So you have found some sources about your topic and you're going to write about them, and I'll show you what that looks like. So Module 10 readings, we've got part 2, quite a few stories about Odin, Thor, Loki, that kind of thing. And I've got a video in there if you want to watch it. And then the annotated bibliography resource page is to help you find some sources about your topic. And the annotated bibliography assignment has the directions for what I want you to do. So the annotated bibliography is a list of 6 sources about your topic, and you can definitely use more than 6 sources when you sit down to write the essay itself, but for now we're just finding 6 sources. The idea is that you just sort of look for a variety of information. There's not a requirement as to what type of sources you find, but I do want to make sure that you are finding credible information using your database resources and that kind of thing, so that the information that you find is trustworthy. I have an example here so that you can see what one looks like. Basically, you're just going to have works cited entry and then a short paragraph about each source. And so what I did was I just did 2 so you can kind of see what it looks like. And essentially you have a works cited entry, and this needs to be an MLA style, not APA. I get a lot of students who are using APA style because they use it in other classes. We use MLA in any kind of English class. So MLA style, and then just a short paragraph, mainly focusing on what is the source about and what did you think of it. You are not making an essay yet. You're not writing an argument yet. You're not trying to make a point. So you don't need to comment on the information itself. It's just, this is what the source is about, and this is what I thought of the source. So this, short articles, a description of the artifact, etc. Since it was published in Archaeology, which is sponsored by the Archaeological Institute of America, it would be considered a credible source, that kind of thing. Information about the author. Author's a former professor. Encyclopedia uses board of editors, that kind of thing. So what do you need? What do you know about the source that establishes its credibility? And then what is just some basic information about it? So we're thinking broad overview of the information, and then what are some of the things that tell you that this is a trustworthy source. So you're going to do that 6 times. They do take a little while to do. The short paragraphs really aren't that difficult to write, but you're trying to find that information, you're trying to find those sources. I would not just go with the first 6 sources that you find. Look for sources that are actually going to help you out. Look around in a few places and that kind of thing. So that's the assignment itself. I've got some resources in here to help you out. And that would be a link to the Purdue OWL formatting guide for MLA, so that you can go through and make sure that you're doing the citation correctly. If you have to create it on your own, there's a lot of different ways that you can approach doing citations, and some students use programs to create it for them, and that's fine. Just make sure that you're double checking everything, because that stuff like easy bib and that kind of thing, usually it's wrong. So you want to make sure that you're just going through, and the nice thing about it is that they'll format it for you, so you can get that in the right order and that kind of thing, but you got to make sure that you are giving it the right information. So I've got a link there. I also have a couple of links to different places that can help you out. This is the Allen Community College Library. It is just they call it a page for mythology, and these are just different places where you can look at different sources that the library has access to. And so this is kind of nice. If you are interested in some of these links will take you to different websites, so you can look there. And then you can also take a look at our homepage of the library. Oh, these are different resources that the library has. If you are on campus, on the Iola campus, I have a lot of textbooks, or a lot of books in the library about mythology, and you're more than welcome to look there, and that might help you out a little bit as well. Those of you who are not will need to go to the library page itself, and you can also access the databases. I'm trying to find a quick link for you. I'll probably make one, because there is a link to different resources. Where's my resources page? Can't see it. There we go. So in the library homepage, there's also a big search everything. I searched for my topic. My topic are the Valkyrie. And so I search everything, and that will bring me up the databases from the Allen Library that we have access to. Now, these are sources that are paid for through the school. And so it's really a good idea to start using these as your just like initial, where you're starting for citations and that kind of thing, and information. The thing is, though, if you're entirely an online student, you want to make sure that you're limiting to full text online, because if you don't, then you're going to get sources that you can't access, or that you would have to go to the library physically to access. And so these are kind of nice if you have sort of reference information at the beginning. Typically those encyclopedia type sources will be first. When you click on it, usually it's going to have an HTML full text or PDF full text. You do have to sign in the first time that you go through here, and that's just your Allen username and password. And so once you sign in, you should not need to sign in again as long as you don't close your browser. And that's just going to give you the source itself and the information from the source itself. And then over on the side, you can see the little button that says Cite, and then you can scroll down to the MLA 9th edition and copy and paste that. So it makes it really nice when they create the citation for you. So that's one option. And I've got a couple of other links here. Encyclopedia Mythica is a really good place. It's, again, a lot of the sources you're going to find are just going to be like encyclopedia type sources. And then the Theoi is another good place to go as well. So those would be good places to start. Theoi is mostly Greek myth. And so that would be, for those of you who, a lot of you have chosen topics related to Greek myths, so that might be a good place to start. So for this assignment, for this module, mostly you're just finding information about your topic. And so make sure that your topic's been approved, and then get started finding some sources and create that annotated bibliography, and then that will be the module. So if you have any questions, let me know. Make sure that you send me an email. Otherwise, have a great week.